I'd just be laying in bed and all of a sudden it would feel like somebody was literally choking me. Like my throat would start to close and my heart would start to beat and then I'd start hyperventilating because I couldn't breathe and it was like it spiraled so fast. Hi guys.
Hi guys.
Welcome back to OTO.
Episode number 7.
7. I always have to add something weird after you say
Woot woot.
Yeah.
That's what I was waiting for.
Today we're going to talk about generational curses that run in our family and how we broke the cycle. And
Yeah. Just like talking about some things that run in our family that aren't good and how we have tried to prevent them or stop them and
from continuing.
yeah.
Yep.
So the first thing that really runs in our family is addiction. And we talked about that in the first episode with our mom. Obviously, she was addicted to drugs. And then with both of our dads, they also were addicted to nicotine. Like my dad used to smoke and her dad used to chew. But again, the big thing is with our mom and with drugs. Like that's, I feel like, well, no, I shouldn't say that. I was going to say, I feel like that's how we know we really have it. But like anyone can get addicted to drugs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we just have to be a little more careful than other people. Yeah, so, like since obviously mom is an addict, like that stuff is genetic. So we have to be very careful when it comes to like anything like that. There's no like trying something one time and stuff like that. Like we had to be very mindful of the fact that like we could try something once and we would be addicted forever because it's just the way our brains, we just have that chemical in our brain that feeds addiction. And yeah, like since it's generational too, like my kids have to be careful and like your kids will have to be careful, and it's just something that like you should obviously always keep in mind not to do drugs.
Yeah, right.
But it's something that
seriously don't do drugs.
Yeah, it's just something that we've had to like really be like, okay, like you know what, they might be doing whatever they're doing, but like, and they might do it just once in a while, but we aren't those kind of people that can just do it once in a while and get away with it. That's not how it works for us.
Yeah, and I feel like most people obviously also don't have that example. Like for us seeing mom and like what drugs did to her, like that was our biggest like thing of like, from a young age, like I'm never touching that, you know what I mean? So, but I know a lot of people don't have that, so they think, oh, I'll just do it once in a while, just for fun, whatever, and then you go down a bad path usually. I mean, some people might do it once or once in a while and be fine, but
yeah, so yeah, and like also like even like on like Gary and Gary's side of the family, that stuff runs too. So like our kids are in the same situation as you and I, basically, where like they have to really be careful. And yeah, growing up with mom, like it was hard like to experience all of that, but like you can look at things two ways. You can look at them negatively or positively, and I'm like grateful for the situation and the experience because like now I for sure know better. And it was like the perfect example of like what not to do.
Right.
And it was obviously a rough childhood, but who knows like where we'd be or who we'd be or whatever. If we hadn't gone through all of that, we wouldn't be sitting here today. So
exactly.
And you can look at that with anything in life, honestly. And I've been trying to do that more lately, like be grateful for like experiences and situations, even if they weren't good in the moment. More than likely, like God always has a plan for you, and so like more than likely the outcome is going to be something good.
Yeah, I always say like everything happens for a reason through God. Like God won't put you through something or anything like that if it's not for a good reason, and you don't see the bigger picture like he does. That's why you have to just trust and know that it's gonna be okay.
That's right. And then another generational curse that we have is like broken relationships. So nobody in our family has had good long lasting relationships other than your grandparents.
Yeah, well,
I mean, what,
Yeah,
me?
our
Me?
grandparents.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, luckily, we both have a good example of my grandparents on my dad's side because they had like the best, like literally like out of a movie, like love story. Like they met in their high school sweethearts, they got married young and had kids, and they're still together to this day. And it's just like, if I had to take advice on relationships from anyone, it would definitely be them,
Mm-hmm.
like in our family.
Yeah. So, mom and my dad were forced to get married when they were 16 and 18 because mom got pregnant with me, and our family is very Christian. So my great grandparents were like, yeah, you guys are gonna have to get married now. And so they did, and then they were separated before I even turned a year old. And then mom had a boyfriend in between that and meeting your dad. And then mom and your dad got married, and then they separated when you were like a year old.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, I wouldn't say, I mean, they were Christian, but great grandparents, they were very traditional and
Mm-hmm.
they definitely cared about, how everyone else would look at them if
Yeah.
they knew that their granddaughter was pregnant and not married. So that's the whole reason for all that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. They cared a lot about what other people would think, I guess.
mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, and then they split whenever you were around one, and then mom
Mm-hmm.
had a lot of bad relationships after
Mm-hmm.
that too. So
Yeah, we saw that firsthand.
yeah, and so I feel like also, like with that experience and stuff like that, we also learned like the kind of relationships we don't want.
Mm-hmm.
And like you can like take everything that you've been through and everything that you experience and use it in a positive way, and like use it as example of like what not to be, how you don't want your life to be, who the type of people you don't want to be with, like stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I feel like our life was like filled with a lot of that, a lot of example of
Yeah.
what to not do.
Well, with your dad has had a lot of relationships that didn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen my dad with a few different girlfriends and stuff that haven't worked out. And then, like, pretty much everyone in our lives, other than my grandparents, our grandparents,
Have had failed relationships.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we definitely have seen that. But I think just especially with mom, because we like saw with our own eyes how badly she was treated by some of those guys.
Yeah, and a lot of that had to do with drugs as well.
Mm-hmm.
But like even just like when it comes to everybody else too, it's like nobody ever wants to put in the effort to work through
Mm-hmm.
the relationship. Like
Right.
it feels like everybody in our family is so quick to give up and just like walk away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like my relationship has had its struggles and stuff like that, but like one thing that we're doing a lot of is working on it
Mm-hmm.
and growing together instead of just like calling it quits and giving our children separate houses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like we're trying our best to like make sure everybody is happy in a family.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I just feel like nobody else in our life other than your grandparents have tried.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just gonna say, like, I feel like that's really like selfless of you guys, because I feel like with most people they just have, like we talked about, like their relationship isn't working out, so they just give up on it, whatever. And I think that's one thing, but especially since you guys have like kids, you're not just, splitting apart the whole family just because. And it's not like, wait, I don't want to say too much. Like, I'm talking like your guys' relationship is just so terrible and like you guys are gonna get divorced and stuff. But no, I just mean like you guys are trying, like actively trying really hard to not just keep it together, but to like grow to have like a really good, strong relationship and family. And
Yeah.
that's just
We're not
really
just
important.
staying together just for the
Right,
kids. We're
right.
staying together
Yeah.
with the efforts and stuff to be happy.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
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 I've been in a few relationships and none of, like, I've never been in like a good, like strong, happy, healthy relationship. And I think I got a lot of toxic traits from what I saw growing up. But I would feel as of recently, especially, I've learned to grow out of those. And I'm no longer, you know, like I've become good at, like, well, I don't know if I can even say that. I
This is the anxiety talking.
I have standards now, I would say.
Yeah.
Like, I know what red flags to look for, and sometimes I would even see red flags and I would ignore them. And at one point I would say I was a walking red flag. So we're just progressing now, and
Yeah.
yeah.
It's easy to, pick up toxic traits too whenever you go through like a childhood like we did when everything was toxic. Like,
Yeah, literally. That's what we
honestly,
grew up around.
yeah. And then you're like, shh, your brain is so young and like you're like a sponge and you take everything in that you see and experience. And then, it's like we were talking earlier today about like how awesome it is that we got to go to therapy so young, like early teens, because
Yeah.
it's easier to like rewire the way that you think and recognize what's toxic and like get rid of it and like all these things young versus like being an adult and trying to reteach yourself everything you know because of
Yeah.
what your parents taught you or whatever.
It's easier to rewire your brain before it's already wired.
Yeah. So
Developed. Fully developed.
yeah, and I've had some pretty bad relationships too, and I just feel like another thing is I'm not saying you should like stick around and absolutely give it your all with every relationship you ever
right.
have.
Some
Like,
relationships you do just gotta walk away because it's not worth putting up with.
yeah, and you'll know, honestly, like you'll know if is this worth it or is this worth my time and my energy and like the effort that I have to put into this or is it not? And it's okay if it's not. Like if it's truly not, then the right thing is to do is walk away.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that you are bad at relationships or like any of those things. But whenever you know that you're with the person that you should be fighting for, you'll just know it.
And I also think that sometimes it is okay to be selfish and think about what's best for you to do. If you're in a relationship that's like just really messy and toxic, like don't carry that on. Like get rid of it before it gets too big of a thing, or whatever it could be. It's okay to think about what's best for you sometimes.
Yeah. Definitely. If it comes down to like your mental health or another person's happiness, it's not meant to be. Your mental health should never be sacrificed in place for another person to be happy. Like that's just not. So, yeah. Anything else you wanted to say about that?
No, I don't think so. You're growing in your relationship, and I am just in my waiting season.
Waiting. I love that for you.
Thank you. Yeah. So the last one we wanted to talk about was mental health issues in our family, and I think two big ones are definitely anxiety and depression, which are both, very serious things. I personally dealt with anxiety for a really long time. I would say I didn't have anxiety, I don't think, as like a kid. I feel like most kids don't. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think a lot of my anxiety came from the trauma and stuff that I experienced with mom and things like that. And then I didn't really start to experience that until I was like in my early teens, and then pretty much like 14 or 15. So all throughout high school, I had like pretty bad anxiety, like literally every day. I would just feel so anxious. And a lot of things happened during high school that increased my anxiety a lot. But then, I started getting closer to God and stuff, and through that, my anxiety is like pretty much gone away. I still experience it like once in a while. I'll just get like random waves of stuff, but I have definitely learned how to deal with it better now, and I try not to let it affect me too much, and I just kind of put my trust in God and know that everything is going to be okay no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to remind myself that like anytime I feel that way, like I felt this way before and I was fine. Like no matter what, everything's going to be okay. Because I know sometimes it like feels like, you know, nothing's okay right now, like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But like you literally just have to remind yourself that everything, it's fine. It's really okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It definitely started like when we were with mom and stuff like that, and then I would say like it peaked, like I had like severe anxiety and depression whenever I was in college, and I would start like I would wake up at like 3 in the morning and I just like was uncontrollably sobbing, and I would drive an hour and a half home just because I needed to be home, and I didn't really know what was wrong. Like that's the thing I feel like about anxiety and depression is like sometimes there's really like nothing that's wrong.
Right.
You just like your body is on like high alert for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's not always the case. Some people like get anxiety and depression for certain reasons, but like
Right.
in my experience, a lot of the time was over nothing. And then yeah, so and then there was like another period of time where I had a falling out with my family for the first time, and that gave me a lot of anxiety. So I went to the doctor. I had a mini stroke actually.
Oh my gosh.
Because I had my stress levels were so insanely high, and like I literally woke up for work one morning and I couldn't like function. Like I couldn't form words or sentences. And I still have my text actually to my supervisor, and it was just like something frog, something like it made no sense. And I was just trying to tell her, and like in my head, I was telling her that I had a migraine and I was going to log on late.
Oh
And it was just complete gibberish. And then like I remember I like called Gary and I couldn't even speak, like I couldn't talk.
Oh my god.
And it was the weirdest thing, and I like literally laid on the couch. I was throwing up all day. It was so bad.
Jeez.
And then I went to the doctor, and yeah, he told me that I had a mini stroke, and I was like, what the heck?
Oh my word.
My stress levels were high, my anxiety was horrible, and all this stuff. So they put me on anxiety medicine, which literally started triggering panic attacks. I had never experienced panic attacks until I got on anxiety medicine, and I was like, what the heck?
Dude, that's
like,
so weird.
And it would be so bad, and they would be so random. Like I'd just be laying in bed, and all of a sudden it would feel like somebody was literally choking me. Like my throat would start to close and my heart would start to beat, and then I'd start hyperventilating because I couldn't breathe, and it was like it spiraled so fast.
Oh my word.
So yeah, but then I stopped taking all that. I stopped taking anxiety medicine and stuff, and then I'm pretty okay now. Like I get it like once in a while. Like sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and my heart just starts racing, and I get it for no reason at all. But I'll just like pray myself back to sleep, and stuff. And yeah, so definitely just like praying about it helps a lot, and journaling. You can journal your thoughts and your feelings just so you don't like hold things in.
Yeah.
I feel like that has a lot to do with anxiety.
Mhm.
Is just like holding all of your emotions in, and then like you like can't really handle it anymore.
Yeah.
And like even though you're just writing it down on paper, it's like getting it off of your brain. It's like
Right.
transferring it from here to the paper, and like it really helps clear up some space. And so like I really recommend that. And you know, you can do something that like relaxes you, like read a book. Reading a book for me like puts me into a different like I'm the character in the book, or like whatever. Like I stop thinking about my life and start thinking about that life, or like whatever.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with all that. Good advice.
Yeah, guys, so that's everything. Our DMs are always open if you need to talk, or if you just want advice, or you know, just an ear. You know, we would always keep everything anonymous unless you stated that you wanted it otherwise. If you ever have any stories that you want us to share on our platform, you can always send us those as well.
Yeah.
And that's everything.
Yep.
Okay, guys.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Bye. Testing. Oh, you want to be nice now?
I'm sorry.
That was just rewinding.
Oh, yeah. Okay.